What's up? I was gonna say what's up Instagram, I'm so used to saying what's up Instagram, but what's up YouTube today? I just hit 10,000 followers on Instagram last night, and I just want to make a video about that real quick. And so, first, thank you to everyone who's part of the community. I appreciate you so much for being there, for supporting me, for giving me positive feedback. I really appreciate you. So thank you so much. And I wanted to make this video because, I used to look at people who had a lot of followers on social media or who are making an impact, and I always wanted to be that. Because there are so many people who posted things on social media, who posted content and put themselves out there, and those people have really impacted me in my life. And so I always thought, that would be so cool if I could be one of those people. I would love to give back in that way. I would love to make an impact on the world. And I just kind of always thought that, but I never knew that that was something that I could create. I never knew how people did that, and I always thought maybe they got lucky. I don't really know. I'll be like, oh, but they can do that because they have a lot of followers. What I didn't understand is that a following, a brand, or influence, or impact is something that you create. It's something that you proactively create through actions, through learning, and I'm just at 10,000 followers, and even though I called this video 10,000 followers and I just talked about numbers a lot, this is not really about numbers, this is more about impact. At least to me, I always wanted to make an impact, and I've been blessed to been able to do that over the past few months that I've been building. Peas by Vegan has been going really well, and like I said, this is not something that happened by accident. Peas by Vegan is something I built on the back of learning, hard work, putting out great content, providing value to the community, and listening to the community. And it's something that you can learn too. So if you have ever wanted to be an influencer, if you have ever wanted to make an impact on the world through social media, it's definitely something that you can learn and do. And there are a million ways to do it. You see me doing it the way that I do it, but it's just because I put together my strengths, my skills, and my passions, and I built what I built. So how did I do this? To me, the first thing that's really important is something I already talked about, which is the idea that building a following or a brand is something that you can learn. Everything that I did to get to this point is something that I learned from someone else. I didn't make up anything. I didn't come up with things off the top of my head. I just looked at other people who were doing what I wanted to do, aka making an impact, and I did what they did and I learned from them. One of my biggest influences is this guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. You can find him at Gary V, Gary V-E-E, that's how it's spelled. And he puts out business-related content and a lot of life-related content as well. He's been in business for several decades now, and he makes videos on Instagram, on YouTube. He's everywhere on social media, but one of the main things he talks about is branding and creating a brand on social media, and how it's an unprecedented opportunity in this internet era, and anyone can do it with hard work and dedication and patience. And he's been one of my huge inspirations. I learned so much from him. Basically everything that I did, I really mainly learned from him. And you can even see, if you go on his Instagram, you'll see that my Instagram is basically his Instagram, just veganized. He puts out business content, I put out vegan content. But like I said, I didn't make it up. I looked at what he did, what worked with him, and I did, because it's two things, right? There are two ways to learn from people. You can listen to what they're saying. So Gary gives a lot of actual tangible advice. You can read his books. His book, Crush It, and the sequel to that, Crushing It, are amazing resources to learn how to build a brand on social media, because it really lays out the blueprint. You can also watch all his free content. Everything you will ever learn from him, you can learn for free on YouTube and Instagram, but I really recommend you watch his YouTube videos. But if you read his books, and specifically I recommend the audiobooks, which he reads himself, which are incredible, he really goes in depth, and he really lays it out step by step basically, and it's really easy to follow, and so you can check that out. But to get back to the story, if you look at his Instagram, you'll see that he makes short videos like the short videos I make. I didn't make it up, I just took it from him, and I was like, what works for him? Let me do the same thing. Same thing for the quotes I've been putting out. So, to me, the idea that we can learn this is the most important idea. Now, what is the second most important idea? And this is the idea of providing value. What I've seen is sometimes people try to build an influencer, they want to build a brand, or they want to become an influencer, but all they think about is how they can get what they want. So how can I get more followers? How can I get more likes? How can I get more engagement? And that's what they think about. I never thought about that ever. And again, this is not something I made up. This is something I learned from people who have huge followings, who have built an empire, right? So what they say is they don't think about how they can get more. They think about how they can give more, how they can provide value to the community. And value is something that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but it can be anything from entertainment, inspiration, education, any sort of thing that's going to transform people. That is value. That's one way of looking at it. There are many ways of looking at it. But to me, I always thought about what can I do, what kind of content can I put out and create that's going to make a difference? What kind of content can I make that's going to stand out because it's going to impact people, because it's going to change people? And that is always, always, always what I ask myself. Now, the third thing that, you know, to piggyback on the previous thing is hard work and patience. You know, everything that I built wasn't built overnight. It happened way quicker than I thought it was gonna happen, to be honest. Especially because, you know, like I said, even though this video is about followers and I just hit 10K, and that's kind of like a place to like put a flag in the sand or whatever the fuck you want to call that. You know, to me it's about impact, and the amount of engagement that I get on my content is incredible. I mean, like I looked at some of the videos this morning that I posted, and some of the videos, like one of my videos got over 50,000 views. I have other videos with tens of thousands of views, which is crazy for someone with the amount of followers that I have. I looked at a lot of hashtags that I use, and I'm kind of like all over the top posts of those hashtags, which is really cool. And I get tons of comments, I get tons of positive feedback. Every single day I get tons of DMs from people telling me that I inspire them, telling me that I change them. And you know, I'm not saying this to brag, I'm just saying this to illustrate that this is something that you can learn, this is something that's possible, and that's what it's about more than the numbers. Now, like I said, hard work and patience. You know, when I first started, I didn't know how I was going to build this. The only thing I knew, which by the way is another thing that's so important, I'm throwing out a lot of different points here, and take it the way you want to take it, but I think one of the most important things in life in general, but with this also, is this idea of commitment. You can even see how I talk about commitment in my content all the time. And to me, when I first started Peas by Vegan, you know, I started from zero. I really started from scratch. This is not my personal account, which I transformed into a vegan account. This is a from scratch project. I was like, I want to see how I can build this from zero. I remember when I first started, I have my personal account, and I went on my story and I said, hey, what's up? I just started this new Instagram about veganism. I'm really passionate about it, so if you want to check it out, go check it out right now. Click right here. And you know, I did that, and I think like 2 or 3 people clicked on that link. Like, no one followed me from that. Like, basically no one gave a flying fuck about my new project. And I was like, okay, cool, you know, like, that's fine. I'm just gonna build this from scratch. And that's exactly what I did, and it took a lot of hard work and patience and a lot of experimenting. I tried so many different types of content. What I'm gonna do after I shoot this video and I go home is I'm gonna unarchive all my old posts, so you can see every single thing that I ever posted on this Instagram. And I posted, you know, I mean, it's not that much more than what's on there right now, but you'll see that I evolved and I tried different things. One of the main things, one of the main pieces of advice, actually, if you get anything out of this video, and you know, you are someone right now who wants to start a brand, you want to start a movement, and you don't know where to start, this is my advice to you. Just fucking get started. Get started right now. Post something. 1 is always greater than 0. Always, 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 always. And you can see that when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. The only thing I had was my vision and my commitment. And from there, I started posting food pictures. That's the first thing I posted. Alright? And, you know, as you probably noticed, food pictures are all over the internet, they're all over Instagram. It's very difficult to stand out. It's very difficult to provide value posting food pictures because so many people are doing it. So I really didn't stand out at all by doing that. Now from there I evolved. I started posting pictures of animals at sanctuaries. That was one step above because it was providing more value. It was actually kind of cool. And then I started posting quotes, I started posting pictures of other people, I started telling more stories, and eventually I started making videos. At first, I made videos of not me, but of other people because I didn't think that anyone would want to listen to me. And then eventually I started posting videos of myself. Eventually I started posting other types of content, different types of videos. I started doing live streams. I experimented, I tried a ton of different things on my story. But, you know, this whole thing, like I said, is really a product of massive, massive, massive experimentation and massive action. Now the thing with action is that the more I post, the more I do things, the more I get used to the idea of posting, but also the more I get used to the idea of trying different things. When I first started out, I was very uncomfortable trying out new ideas. Now I'm very comfortable trying new ideas all the time, and you can see, it might not be apparent if you don't really think about it, but I try so many different types of content. I have videos where it's just me talking, where I'm talking directly to the camera. I have videos of me doing outreach. I have videos of me getting interviewed. I have videos where I'm interviewing someone else. I have videos in those interviews where I'm talking and then that person talks, because I wanted to see if the fact that I'm in the video, that I'm talking, makes a difference in how well the video does. I have videos where it's just the other person talking. Now I have like pictures, I have like this Throwback Thursday thing that I started doing. I'm doing these crazy polls and these experimentations on my story, man. I'm trying so many different things. I'm trying different things in my live videos. It's really this whole journey of trying different things. And with that, this is key, is listening. I try different things, but I always listen to the community. Like I said, the most important thing is to provide value to the audience, provide value to you. That is my MO. I'm always trying to figure out, what can I do to provide you value? And that being the case, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to your feedback. I read all my comments. I answer every single comment, every DM, even though now some of the hater comments, I delete them or ignore them. But for the most part, I reply to every single comment. I read every comment. I take every single bit of feedback. I ask people, what do you enjoy about my content? How can I provide you more value? I ask those questions so that I can see what works and I can do more of that. I look at the content that does well and I put out more of the similar type of content because I know it's going to work. Well, you don't ever know. Like this is the one thing. Like the reason that you rely on the audience and that you provide value to the audience is because you, as a content creator, you don't get to decide what piece of content is going to do well. You don't get to decide, this is what I want to put out. I think this is a great piece of content. You don't get to decide that. You can have your opinion, but at the end of the day, your audience is going to decide that. The market is the market is the market, as Gary Vaynerchuk says. You don't get to decide. So, massive experimentation, massive action. And that's really how I built this brand up to this point, was really by learning from other people, by being dedicated, by having a vision and committing to my vision, and then doing massive experimentation, trying tons of different things, and showing up over and over and over and over and over again. If you're trying to be an influencer, but you're not posting every single day, if you're not answering your comments, your DMs, it's not gonna work. Look at every single person who is successful on social media. Of course, there are many different ways to do it. This is specific to Instagram. And of course, on YouTube, there are people who don't post every day, etc., etc. But on Instagram, for the most part, if you look at the people who've done really well on Instagram and who keep doing really well, they post every single day. Many of them, when they started out, they answered every single comment. Many of them don't do that now because they have hundreds of thousands of followers, so perhaps they don't do that. But when they started, you bet that most of them, at least, the more reliable way to do it is to answer to your community, to get engaged with your community, because the whole point is to create a community. How are you going to create a community if you're not engaging with the community, if you're not providing value to the community? Now, to get more into the nitty-gritty of how I achieve this as well, one of the things that I learned from doing this is that, at least to me, it might be different now, I don't really know, but the journey from 0 to 10,000 was really a journey that was broken down into different parts. There was first the part between 0 and 500. That was perhaps the hardest part of it all. I mean, like when you're at 0, it's really hard to get up and running. You can do it, but it's really difficult. So first part, 0 to 500. Then it was about 500 through to 1,000. At 1,000, things start rolling along. The ball starts rolling. And then the next part of the journey is approximately 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 to 10,000. And that's kind of how I would break it down. That's been my experience, at least, and perhaps also is because I was learning things along the way. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, this is something you want to do. This video can cut your learning curve. This is the point of this video. That would be incredible, and I can't wait to hear about your story, about how you rose as the Phoenix. But for now, that was my personal journey, and the way that I did it is from 0 to 500. The people that were following me, my community, so to speak, because I don't like the word followers or fans. To me, it's a community. We're here together, perhaps in a certain context. I'm the leader of the community, but we are a community together. That's really how I look at it. So at the beginning, the first 500 people or so, those are people that I met in person. I went to events. I went to activism events. I went to an animal rights conference in Berkeley, and I networked. I met a lot of people, and I connected with them on Instagram. Now, not because I wanted followers or because I wanted something from them. I was like, hey, let's keep in touch. I would love to know what you're up to, and let's connect on Instagram. So I connected with a bunch of people on Instagram. That's how I started to get the ball rolling, because when you have like 20 followers, it's very difficult for people to stumble upon your account and be like, you know what's a great idea? I should follow this account, because of this principle called social proof. Social proof is the idea that people do what everyone else is doing, and people gravitate towards things that a lot of people are already saying, this thing is great. That's why if you see a restaurant with a long line outside, you'll want to go to that restaurant. That's why if you see a store with a lot of people in it, you want to go to that store. That's why celebrities are popular, because they're already popular, so many people love them, so many more people say they're gonna love them. Have you ever noticed that when a song comes on the radio, maybe you might be compelled, or someone else might be compelled to say something like, I love this song. Well, really, do you really love the song? You might like the song, sure. But what I found is that I love this song in many cases really means I know this song, and I know many other people know this song, so I'm gonna say I love this song because everyone is saying I love this song. It's social proof, or at least that's a big part of it. So when you have no followers, you have no social proof, it's very difficult for people to stumble upon your account and be like, I'm gonna follow you. So that's why gotta actually build relationships with people. You have to understand that the relationship that I have with many of the people that follow me today, that I don't know them in person, I have a very similar relationship to them, at least in their experience. Perhaps this is your experience where, you know, you follow me and you feel like we're friends. You feel like you really know me well, and you know, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, you know me, but I don't know you. That's not what I mean. I love you and I care about you. I really, really do. That's why I do this. But I don't know you in person, but you might feel like you know me. And you have to understand that those are the types of relationships that builds an influence. And so, you know, when you have nothing, you actually have to go and proactively go create those relationships, especially when you have no followers, you probably have no content either, so there's nothing for people to fall back on. There's only your in-person communication with people. So you go to events, find people in your niche, find people who you want to be a part of your community, and actually go meet them in person, connect with them in person, befriend them in person. And that's how I personally got started. Now from there, like I said, evolving content, trying different types of content, and also really engaging in the community, not just in my community, but going out of my way. I applied this thing called the $80 strategy that Gary Vee came up with. He was like, go on like 10 top hashtags in your niche and comment on those posts by adding value. I want you from now on, every single time you leave a comment, every single time you post, or you know, if you want to build an influence, if you don't want to and you just social media for you is just about connecting to friends, that's fine. I don't know where you're watching this video, but that's cool too. But if you want to build an influence, if you want to make a difference, I want you to think, every single time you engage on social media, think about how you are providing value. How are you giving? Never, ever, ever think about what you want. Never think, I'm gonna do this so I'm gonna get followers. I'm gonna do this so I get likes. I'm gonna do this so I get engagement. I'm gonna do this because this is gonna provide value. That from now on, I want that to be your absolute MO with everything that you do on social media. So the $80 strategy, I went on a bunch of posts, top hashtags, I left my 2 cents, I added value, I tried many different things to add value, I tried jokes, I tried information, I tried education, I answered comments. It was really finding people and providing value to them. I would go find other people in the community that are coming up, they're building their following as well. I would go to their page, add value, be like, hey, I love your content, I love how you're doing this, give feedback, give positive feedback, you know, do something that's gonna provide value. So I did that for a long time. And then finally, when the ball started rolling, that was around, you know, 1,000, and that was really the hardest part of the journey. It took a long time, and at the time I remember I was maybe getting like 4 new followers a day. If I went out to an event, I would meet like 5 to 10 people, and you know, I would get like 7 new people who would follow me, and you know, like it was a really slow process. Again, this is not about numbers, but just to illustrate the journey, you know, that's how it happened. And then when I was around 1,000 and I really started experimenting, and I really started finding my voice. Because the way that I found my voice was really by looking at what are my passions, what am I good at, what are my skills, what do I want to do, what does the community need, and putting all that together. This is not easy. I had to think about a lot of things, I had to try a lot of different things, and I really had to drop my ego and not care about what other people thought, and really come from a place where I was like, you know, I'm just gonna try things and see if it works. If it doesn't work, that's fine, but I'm just gonna try it anyway. So for me, for example, I love making videos. And here's the thing. You might see me now, perhaps you started following me when I had more followers, several thousand, or whatever it is, I don't really know. And you think that this is just who I am. Everything that I show, everything that I am on my Instagram or on my social media in general, those are all things that I learned. I learned how to talk in front of the camera. I vlogged for about a whole year on a different topic, not on veganism, just to practice vlogging and practice the art of speaking in front of the camera. That's something that I learned and practiced. I'm still learning to this day. I'm still not perfect. I'm still learning tons of things. Every single time I shoot a video, I go home, I watch the video, and then I see where I can improve. There are so many videos, I swear, that I've shot that have not made it to Instagram, that have not made it anywhere. They're in my hard drive. I have hard drives that have crashed with tons of content that I've never ever put out. So this was really something that I learned. I learned how to be charismatic. I learned how to edit videos. I've been making videos for 10 years at this point. 10 years I've been creating different types of content and putting out content on the internet. And you know, this is not something that I learned overnight. I learned After Effects when I was way younger, and I spent hours and days learning this computer software that allows me to make the videos that I make today. Everything I do, like I said, is something I learned. And even going deeper, the mindsets, the person I had to be, me growing as a person, to put myself out there and not be shy to talk to people, to talk in front of the camera, to put stuff out on social media and not care what other people think, to, you know, get past all the hate comments and the this and that and all the shit that was thrown at me. I had to grow as a person in order to do that, and that is a journey I have been committing to for many years at this point as well. I did many things to grow as a person, whether it be read books. I meditated for a long time. I should probably get back on that. I ate healthy, took different transformational programs. I had mentors. I worked for people who I admired. I mean, I did many different things to get to this point, to be able to do what I am doing. So I kind of lost exactly where I was in the process, but oh yeah, I was telling, you know, I keep going on tangents. You know, let me know in the comments below, by the way, if you like when I'm going on tangents and stuff like that. I kind of start ranting about different things. This is how my brain works. This is always what I envision my videos to be, kind of like this stream of consciousness of all the things that I think about, because I love thinking so much. I love talking about my thoughts, so I just love doing that. But anyways, when I started getting to several thousand, at a certain point, and this relates exactly to what I just said, which is I had to grow as a person, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna build a personal brand. That is always what I wanted to do, build a personal brand. Now, by the way, the reason I always wanted to build a personal brand was because I noticed that people who have a personal brand, people who are famous or people who have some sort of public attention, are the people who make an impact in the world. And that being the case, I was like, you know what? I wanna make an impact on the world. What is the quickest path I see to doing that? I should build an influence. I should become a public figure. I hate the word public figure, but the point is, I should become one of those people with a lot of attention. That's why I built this whole thing in the first place. The reason that I follow Gary Vee and the reason I follow his model is because he's focused on creating impact. His vision is to create the most impact on the entrepreneurship community. His vision is not to make the most money. He's like, you know, people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, those people are gonna make more money than him, but he thinks he's gonna make more of an impact on the people, on the community. And I was like, that's what I wanna do. So that being the case, that's why I follow him. That's why I do what he does. But you know, I had to drop my ego and be like, okay, I'm gonna create videos of myself. I'm gonna trust that if I put out enough content of myself, people are gonna start liking me. And lo and behold, this is exactly what happened. You know, I started posting videos of me, and this is the thing too, when you're inspired to do something, maybe you're watching this video right now and you're like, you know what? I want to do this. You know what? I'm inspired to go do this. If that's the case, turn off this video right now and get the fuck started. Watching videos about how you're gonna get your life together, watching videos about how you're gonna do what you're gonna do, and thinking about it is all cool. Ideas are awesome. But what matters in the end is execution. And you'll find that in life, execution is a million times harder than thinking about things and learning about things. At least that's been my experience. And let me tell you, I procrastinated vlogging for about 4 years of my life. I procrastinated starting this brand for at least a year. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do Peace by Vegan, even though I didn't know what it was gonna be called. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I always wanted to do it, but I procrastinated for so long. Why? Because of things like fear, insecurity, me not thinking that I was good enough, me thinking that people were not like me thinking that I was too busy, all these irrelevant excuses that I had in my head prevented me from actually getting started. My biggest wish is that I got started sooner, because if I had got started sooner, I'll be further along now. Like, it's inevitable, right? Because I just spend more time learning and putting out content. So anyways, my advice to you is get started. I think I gave that advice early in the video too, but that is really the main piece of it, guys. Advice, get the fuck started. But for now, I had to drop my ego and be like, okay, I'm gonna produce videos. And here's the thing, one night rather, I was at a vigil. I was at the vigil all night, came home, and I was like, I have to do something right now. You know, because when you go to a vigil, when you meet animals who are being brought to slaughter, you're like, yo, I gotta fucking do something right now. Like, this is not a fucking joke. I came back and I was like, I should shoot a video. I have a great idea. I want to shoot a video about how it would be outrageous for people to kill dogs, and yet we kill pigs like it's no big deal. And that day was the day that I was like, I'm gonna go shoot my first video. It was 6 in the morning. I hadn't gone to bed yet, and I was really inspired. And like I said, when you're hit with inspiration, I really advise you to run with that inspiration, because although inspiration is not what's gonna get you far in life, it's discipline. It's showing up every single day. There are certain days I don't feel like showing up. I don't feel like making a video every single day. I don't feel like being on social media and answering comments, but I fucking do it anyways because I committed to showing up and I'm disciplined. So that being the case, inspiration is not what's gonna help you, but when inspiration hits you, run with it, because it's gonna help you in that moment. So to me, I was inspired that morning and I was like, I'm gonna go shoot a video. I went out, shot the video, came back, edited the video. I think I stayed up till like 1 in the afternoon or something. I didn't sleep, and I was like, put out the video. So I put out the video, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Put out the video, I'm so happy. And what happened after that was that the next day I was like, you know what? I should shoot a video today too. And the next day I was like, I should shoot a video today too. And then at some point, I committed to making a video every single day. See, the reason I did that is because I was inspired by 2 people, Casey Neistat and Seth Godin. If you don't know who those 2 people are, you should go check them out. Casey Neistat is a vlogger. He made vlogs on YouTube every single day for several years. He made like this 7 to 12 minute film every single day for several years. I mean, that's insane. That's so much hard work, so he did that. And he just recently hit 10 million subscribers on YouTube, and he attributes that to a huge part of his success. Seth Godin is someone who's incredible. You should read his books. My favorite book by him so far is All Marketers Are Liars. But he has a blog in which he writes every single day, and his philosophy is every single day he wants to put out a piece of content or, you know, a thought into the world that's going to advance the world, that's going to provide value to the world that he can point to in the future and be like, hey, I said this 2 months ago. That is his vision. That is his idea of what a productive day is. He's like, a productive day for me is when I put out something that's going to change the world and create a ruckus. He loves that word, ruckus. And so I was inspired by those 2 people, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that on Instagram. What if every single day I put out a thought on veganism, a thought that might potentially change the world, and it showed up every single day. And you know, I thought to myself, I'm like, if I keep doing this long enough, then only good things can happen. I mean, in my mind, you know, even though this project that I have right now is called 365 Minutes of Peace, I don't even like that name that much, but fuck it, I'm gonna run with it. You know, which I'm gonna create 365 videos. It's supposed to represent 365 days, even though sometimes I post multiple times a day, so it's gonna end before a year. But the point is, you know, that's cool, that's 365 videos, that's a lot of videos. But in my mind, I'm like, watch me put out a video like this every single day for like the next 10 years and do even crazier shit every day for the next 10 years and see what happens then. That is how I think about it. Dan Lok, a businessman who I've been recently really inspired by, said this in a video. He said, my vision is to put out 10,000 videos on YouTube because I want it so that when my competition looks at my YouTube channel, they're like, I can't compete, this is too much, I don't even know where to start. 10,000, that's insane. And that's how I think too. I'm like, I'm gonna put out so many things, so much great content. Like in my mind, I'm like, my one piece of content, my daily piece of content is gonna be better than the average piece of content that most people put out. And watch me do that for years and years and years and years consistently. That is what I think. So, you know, I was inspired by all that and I was like, let me start doing this. And that's when I started doing the daily videos, and that's really when I started blowing up. Now, to bring it back to what I said earlier about listening to your audience, when I really started doing this, because at first you get no feedback from your audience, you know, when you don't have any sort of attention, no one is giving you any feedback, but when you actually start getting some sort of audience and getting feedback, you can listen to that feedback. At first I was really bad at this, I'm still getting better at it, but basically the idea is, at some point I started listening to the community. what are their concerns, what are their pain points, what are the things that I could provide value, what are the things that they like about my content, and let me do more of that. One of the reasons that I started doing daily live streams, even though I've kind of fallen off that recently, is because I realized that people like the person that I'm being in the videos. They're inspired by the strong voice that I am. They like that I'm enthusiastic, that I have a lot of energy, and that's what inspires them. And that being the case, I was like, you know, that's cool. I can do that in a 1-minute video, but what if I did that on a live stream? The other thing is, the more people watch you, the more they're gonna want to watch even more of you. Like I know this because I've had this with people where I start watching their content. Next thing I know, I'm addicted to their content. And I was like, these 1-minute videos are cool, but that's only 1 minute per day. What if I did like an hour-long live stream every single day that people could additionally watch, and that's like me creating like 60 videos at once where people can spend an hour or like several minutes every single day watching me. And you know, and again, I did this, you know, like the way I said it, it can kind of seem like I'm trying to get an investment from the audience. That's what it is. Technically, when you get investment from people, people want to invest in you even more. But the frame I did this from was, how can I provide value? And soon enough, I saw the results of that, and I saw people hitting me up being inspired because they were like, yo, you know, I was bullied at school today and then I watched your live stream and I feel so empowered now. And I got feedback like that, and I was like, okay, this is working. That's why I kept doing more and more of that. And I kept emphasizing things that worked. I look at what worked. If things didn't work, I stopped doing them. I saw that, for example, outreach videos did really well, so I started posting more outreach videos. I really figured out what works, what doesn't work, and I kept doing what works, and I stopped doing what doesn't work. Because like I said, success on social media is not about what you want, it's about what your audience responds to. So I was always listening to that. In parallel, I was focused on this idea of Tribes by Seth Godin. You can read a book about this called Tribes by Seth Godin. I just repeated the same shit twice. But the point is, it's a book about leadership, changing the world, and how to create a ruckus, how to create communities. And what he says in that book is that as a leader of a community, there are multiple things that you can do, but two main frames that you can come from. The first one is expanding the community. So that means, in our case, finding more people who are going to go vegan and getting them to enroll in the idea of choosing to be vegan, right? That's the first thing we can do. The second thing is to strengthen the community, to create better communication in the community that already exists currently and really connect people between each other. So for me, I was always focused on those two things. But one thing I've been focusing more on recently was the second thing, creating the community. That's why I make videos addressing concerns that my community might have. Things like being vegan and dating people who are not vegan, finding vegan friends, feeling like you can't change the world, feeling like the people around you don't care about what you have to say, all that kind of thing. I try to empower people to get them past that because, you know, I'm just trying to share my vision with everyone. But the point is, talking about these things, not to get more people to go vegan, even though I do believe that pre-vegans could also stumble upon that content and it could really support them. You know, that's not the primary purpose. And so I'm really focused on those two things. I'm still figuring out exactly what my lane is. I'm still in this phase of experimenting, but you know, that's kind of like what I've been thinking about this whole time. So anyways, that was many thoughts crammed into this video, but these are really all the things I've been thinking about as I've been making these videos, and I'm constantly learning. For example, really recently, I figured out that if I have a really strong visual hook at the beginning of my Instagram videos, they do a lot better because I realized that you can so easily scroll past videos. That's why I started doing big, bold text at the beginning of videos. I probably experiment with different things, but I found that when I have this strong visual hook, I get so many more views and so many people watch my content. Probably because it grabs their attention, and I found for myself too, here's the thing, I look at, you know, not only what people respond to, but what I respond to. I look at, what is this type of content that I vibe with? What is it that makes me want to follow an account? What is it that's going to make me watch an Instagram video? How do I consume content? When I consume content, do I watch the whole story? I realized that, you know, I don't watch the whole story of many people, so I was like, okay, I don't expect people to watch the entire story when I make a story on Instagram. I don't expect people to watch the whole video. That's why, you know, I try to put the points of my videos at the beginning of my videos, although I experiment with different things. And then sometimes I put in the caption, I'll put the most important thing in the caption in the first line because I know that not many people are going to read the whole caption. So, you know, I understand these kind of things because I look at how I consume content and then I apply it. And, you know, also here's the thing too, I was never afraid of failing. One time I took the first 30 seconds or 45 seconds of a YouTube video that I did on an outreach conversation or two outreach conversations that I had before 6 in the morning. In, where was it? It was on Miami, it was in Toronto. And the beginning of that video, I'm setting up the shots. And so there's no visual hook, there's no nothing, it's a shitty intro. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it to see if this actually doesn't work. It didn't work like I predicted, but it doesn't matter, I tried. I always think it's important to try different things. So, that's just one of the things I learned recently. And like I said, I'm always learning, not just from my experiences, from my audience, but also from other people. I'm looking at what other people are doing, I'm listening to what other people are saying, and I'm really building this. And like I said, this is not something that happened by accident. So, in conclusion, if you have always wanted to build an influence on social media, if you've always wanted to be an influencer, if you've always wanted to make an impact on the world by putting out content on the internet and speaking to the world, it's absolutely something that you can do. And it's absolutely something that you can learn how to do. Now you might see me putting out videos, but you don't necessarily have to do it for videos. Gary Vaynerchuk says, if you don't want to do videos, you can do photos, you can do text, you can do audio. There are many different ways to do it. The point is, you can absolutely learn how to do this. So if you want to do it, I really urge you to do it, because we need people like you. The world needs people like you to take a stand for what's right, and to take a stand to transform this world, to commit to changing the world and doing whatever it takes. So, hope to see you emerge soon. Like always, if there's anything you think I can support you with, DM me, let me know, and I'm more than happy to support you. Until next time, have an incredible rest of your day wherever you are, and peace.